Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Pettis, and I'm doing a story on mental health and autism on online learning. I've interviewed several people, and these are their stories. At the end of the video, I will share my own story. Hello, I'm Nicholas Pettis, and I'm here with.
Lisa Yates.
Could you please tell me your position here at MSJC?
I am a counselor in the ASC, the Accommodation Services Center. Our name just changed, so I always have to stop and think what we're called now, but that's what I am.
No worries. All right. So how does online learning affect your ability to do your job to the best of your ability?
It's a challenge. You know, every single time I meet with a student, it's like, is it going to work this time? You know, is their technology going to work? Is my technology going to work? I had just had a student right before you, and it took us like 25 minutes to try to make it work. And we ended up making it work with me calling her using Google Voice and her using her phone, but she still needed to be able to see the documents and be able to sign the documents. So we just did a workaround. That's what we do. And then if I'm working with a student and it's not anything confidential, then I'll do a Zoom so that they can see what I'm seeing if I'm going to do academic advisement or planning or something like that.
Okay. Do you miss teaching in person, or do you like teaching online?
So I don't teach. I am a counselor. Some counselors do teach. They teach guidance classes, but I don't. I used to be a learning disability specialist and I did some teaching, but here at MSJC, I do not. But as far as counseling face-to-face or online, I much prefer face-to-face, definitely.
I completely understand that. What is one thing you like about online learning?
Well, it's not so much about the learning part, but as far as my job, online counseling or whatever, I like that I don't have to commute 45 minutes to work and 45 minutes home. That is my favorite thing. Also, I'm in school, and so now that I'm home all the time, like in between students, if I don't have any emails to answer, any paperwork, digital paperwork to do, I can throw in a little bit of schoolwork in between. And so
Okay.
that's good. Usually at work, when I'm on campus, in between students, I'm running somewhere. So it's kind of, yeah.
Alrighty. What do you dislike about online learning in that way?
Counseling. It's, you know, there's a lot of communication happens that's nonverbal. And so just hearing their voice or seeing this little two-dimensional face, you know, you get a lot from body language, and we tend to just see from the neck up. And when I'm in a room with a student, in a in an office with a student, I can tell if they, you know, seem like they believe what I'm telling them or if they understand what I'm telling them. I can tell if I'm talking too fast so that I can, you know, check for understanding. And also I can tell if they feel kind of stressed and weighted down by the world or by school or whatever. And I can say, hey, what's going on? You know, it's hard to do that in this environment to me. Maybe other people can do it, but I just feel like it's not working.
Okay. What can you do to help your students get better equipped to work online from home?
Well, I was a student success counselor before, and a lot of that is also applicable to this. Time management. I you know, try to encourage students to, you know, just because you can do online anytime doesn't mean you need to wait forever to do it. And so I encourage them to set a certain time every day for their class. I try to, make sure, not everybody can do this, but I encourage them to try to find a quiet place. A lot of students with disabilities, the challenges of their disabilities make them very susceptible to distractions. And so they really need a quiet place to study and learn and organize space. And that's a lot of stuff that I tell them even when we're not online. But I don't know, I think being home, it's just easy to forget about that stuff. Like, oh, it's home. There's no boundary line between work and school and home. It's just like, this is where I eat, this is where I sleep, this is where I do school. And so it's better if they can kind of have a space for school.
Okay. So what is the Living Books event?
So Beyond the Cover, Living Books, I can share a screen with you if you want me to. I had it somewhere, yeah. Beyond the Cover, Living Books is an event that I started in 2016. Oh, okay, you have to allow me to share the screen, I think, if you want to see. And it's an event where students with disabilities basically share what it's been like for them to, it looks like it's not going to work probably.
Hang on a second. Now you have the hostability and you can show.
Okay, there. So this is our website. Beyond the Cover, Living Books is what it's called. And so the goal is to reduce stigma one conversation at a time, because a lot of disabilities, especially invisible disabilities, a lot of them have more stigma associated with them. People who have visible disabilities, like they're in a wheelchair or they're using a cane or they have a cast on or something like that, people tend to be more empathic with those disabilities. But the disabilities that you can't see, like a heart condition or learning disability or ADHD or autism, in some cases, people tend to judge them differently because they can't see a disability, and so they think that it's a mental illness, or and even mental illness, people judge that as less, like it's more in their control, I guess, that they should be able to control it. Whereas if they see you in a wheelchair, they know you can't get up and walk right now. So they tend to be more sympathetic toward those. And so there's more stigma for those kind of disabilities. And then, so students with disabilities just kind of share their story in a conversational format. We've done it for 4 years. And we've done it at the library, at the SJC library and at the Menifee library. And this year it's going to be virtual. And so students with disabilities sit at a table and they just share their story. So each one of them has to come up with an abstract, like the back cover of the book, what their book is about. Of course, they're the living book, so their book is their story. And they have to come up with the title. And then people on campus, teachers, students, staff, anybody who works there, administration has come to, they can come and check out a book. So in this situation, the community of MSJC are the readers, and the readers are coming to check out this book. So they might want to check out Angela Finley to learn more about Try Until You Get It Right. And then on the day of the event, they're seated at a table. They have a card with questions on it just to kind of get the conversation going. But for the most part, they just have a conversation. And at the end of it, We have surveys completed by all of the readers who come, but also by the living books. And the readers have said amazing things. Like one reader about her, I just remember her particularly, said that, and Angela has a learning disability, and she was planning on becoming a nurse. I believe she did enter the nursing program. Somebody wrote about her that I learned that how you learn does not define who you are. And that was really, really important. This guy is now at Cal State Fullerton. He has autism, and he should be finished now. I think he's probably graduated by now. Amanda, she just graduated from Cal State San Marcos. With her degree in AJ, Administration of Justice, and she has a learning disability. Joseph talked a lot about his history. His disability led him to drug and alcohol abuse, and he talked a lot about that in the event. And I remember somebody wrote that they learned that alcohol, and I figured this must be a really young student, because they said they learned that sometimes alcohol isn't just for enjoyment, and that it can become a problem. And so that was a really important thing that they learned. So he's already gone. Cameron was one of my best friends for a little while, was blind since he was 1.5. He talked about how technology had changed his ability to do school, because his textbook for math used to fill 5 boxes because it was in Braille, and it took about, and then eventually computers got better and he was able to use computer technology, and that was so much better. But he said, yeah, but sometimes technology sucks. You know, it doesn't always work that well. And I was like, yeah, for all of us, right? So that's the other thing this event is good for. Not just learning about people with disabilities, but seeing what we have in common with them. A lot of people, readers, would write in their surveys, somebody wrote, I learned that I'm not alone. A lot of our students with mental health issues, depression, anxiety, bipolar, students came and heard their stories and realized that, wow, you know, maybe I should talk to somebody. So it's also been good for that. Kelly is a veteran, and she has some physical disabilities and some learning disabilities. So yeah, it's just awesome. And we're getting ready to do it again in October. And so people can come and read about them. When we did it on campus, everybody would get an old-fashioned library card with the name of the living book and the name, then the title, and then they would check them out for 15 minutes. They would talk to them for 15 minutes at a time. This year it's going to be virtual, so I'm trying to figure out how that's going to work. I'm thinking maybe breakout rooms or something, but yeah, it's going to be good. It'll be different, just like everything else right now is different, right?
Right.
So yeah. So those are living books.
Okay. I think that covers all my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.